Welcome to the Gorilla 6 video series. In this lesson, part 3, breakdown sheets, we're going to learn how to print breakdown sheets. There are two ways to print breakdown sheets. The first way is an industry standard breakdown sheet with boxes, and this is the old style way, where they used to print out these blank sheets and then handwrite the elements needed for that scene in these boxes. The second way is a much more modern way, which allows you to print out breakdown sheets in a report-like format. And I'm going to show you both ways right now. Select the Show Printable Breakdown Sheet button. This is going to take you to a screen where you can see all your breakdown sheets in these boxes, which mimic the categories on your breakdown sheet entry screen. Let's take a quick look at what we're seeing. We have our cast members here in this box, and you can see clearly by the blue color the cast members are here on the breakdown sheet entry screen. We can see the props here in brown and the vehicle here in a light blue. Now, the props exceed the limitation of the box. You can see all the props on the breakdown sheet entry screen, and here in the props box you can only see 6 of them. But if you go down to the footer of the breakdown sheet, notice it says page 1 of 2. If you go to the second page of the breakdown sheet, you will see the rest of the props for this scene, and we are on page 2 of 2 for this particular breakdown sheet. This is the way breakdown sheets used to be printed, and if there were no elements for the other boxes, for example special effects or sound, these boxes would remain empty. In the green environment we live in today, this is really a waste of paper. So I want to show you a way you can modify this sheet. Let's go back to page 1. Notice that there are 2 props here which have long names, so long that it actually doesn't fit on the corresponding breakdown sheet box, and that is of course because of the size limitation of the box. Now, there are 2 ways to remedy this. The first way is to simply rename the prop to a shorter name. The other way, if you are adamant about keeping the long name, is to select a different template for your breakdown sheet boxes. If we select this one right here, notice that more room is allotted for the length of the name. This is still 2 pages, however. The other method of printing breakdown sheets will make it 1 page, and I will get to that at the end of this lesson. The next thing I want to show you is how to change a box to a different category. For this lesson, I created a scene with many vehicles. So many, in fact, that if I go to the corresponding breakdown sheet, you will see that in order to print all the vehicles for this scene, it would take 4 pages. And again, you would have all this wasted space. Now, we could do something about that. Let's go ahead and use a different layout. I'm going to select this one here, which has 3 high columns, which will enable us to visually see more elements on that sheet. Now, notice that the vehicles popped into this box down here, but I want them to be up here, above this box, which is labeled Extras, which I'm not using. It's completely empty. What we can do is swap these boxes. To do that, you click on the Extras box, and then select from the category list Vehicles. All my vehicles will now appear in this top box. Of course, we don't want them doubled, so we can change the category for this box. We might as well set it to Extras because we are not using it. Now we have, if you go down to page count, 1 page for this entire breakdown sheet. Remember, we used to have 4 sheets. Okay, in order to print this breakdown sheet, select the Print button. There are a few options here that you can choose. First of all, you can just print this scene, which will print only 1 page, or you can select all sheets for schedule. You also have the option to print the category names in black and white. This is a nice feature because if you are in fact printing on a black and white printer, the colored text will sometimes be a lighter color than black, and it might be harder to read. Lastly, it points out here that this report only prints in US letter. If you want to print in the A4 page setup, which is the European standard, you can scale the size of the print. And you do this by selecting the Page Setup button after you select Print. If you select 92%, I believe that will be about right if you are printing to the A4 size. Okay, this is the first way to print breakdown sheets, and there are limitations to this, as I pointed out. The other limitation is that you can only print 5 sheets per breakdown sheet. So if I take the example of the vehicles that we printed, and there were about 15 or so vehicles for that scene, if you multiply that by 5, that's 75. So for that setup, you have a limitation of printing 75 elements per breakdown sheet for that category. Now, this might be fine for your production, but it is very common to have hundreds of elements for a scene or a breakdown sheet.
The other way to print breakdown sheets is to print a breakdown sheet summary report. To do this, from the Breakdown menu, select Print Email Reports. From the Scheduling section, select the Breakdown Sheet Summary Report. Then select the Print PDF button. You have to select a phase, and to understand production phases, you can go to that lesson, but every schedule has at least one phase. Now, every time you print a report, you will see this dialog box explaining how to print to PDF. So you can disable this or just close the window. And here you can preview the report. It displays the scene information from the breakdown sheet and all elements summarized by category for that scene. To print it, select the Print button. As you can see in this preview, there is no limitation here, so you can print as many elements per category as needed, and the element name can go all the way across to the end of the page. Also, notice that we see more than one scene per page. If you want to only print one scene or one breakdown sheet per page, otherwise insert a page break between sheets, then go back to the print screen and select the Preferences button, which is the little gear next to the report. Not all, but some reports have this option to customize the look of the report. Select the Print Page Break Between Scenes option. Now when you print the report, you will see a page break between breakdown sheets. This is important if you only want to print the report for a particular breakdown sheet. That's a wrap. Have a great shoot.